Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here with our Berkshire County District Attorney, Andrea Harrington. District Attorney Harrington, thank you for taking the time to do this today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yep, my pleasure. Um, so I guess this being an election year, and you are running for your second term now for District Attorney, and now running as the incumbent, so having to run the office and run a campaign. Uh, are you finding that different this time around?
Yes, being an incumbent is very different from being a challenger. And it's a little bit like the difference, I think, between bringing the prosecution and the defense, right? So, like the prosecution, an incumbent has to make their case and present it to the voters. And, the challenger is kind of like a defense attorney and they can just try to poke holes in things. But it's and then I also, when you're an incumbent, there's just a sense of, incumbents in Massachusetts and in Berkshire County just have a real advantage in terms of being reelected. So there's the challenge of energizing the base to take any kind of challenge seriously. So that's what I found about being an incumbent that was different from being a challenger. And being a challenger is kind of like, you get people that are really worked up about something and they're very motivated and like it's this hill they want to climb. And when you're an incumbent, it's kind of like, you got to really remind people that this is important and, they need to get out and vote and you need help.
So this time around, then what would you say your platform is for reelection? Why should people reelect you as district attorney?
I have modernized the district attorney's office, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done over the last 3.5 years. We have built an amazing team here in the DAs. I have attracted tremendous talent. I've greatly diversified the staff here in the district attorney's office and really inspired the staff and done a lot of training around the vision and the values that I ran on. And we've seen results. We've seen results both in terms of excellence in the courtroom. We've had a lot of really great wins in the courts on tough cases. And also, the mission and values is about, putting law enforcement resources in addressing violence, addressing violent crimes, holding people accountable, but also being a problem solver and recognizing, we're not going to police and prosecute our way out of the opioid epidemic. And there are public health issues like poverty and domestic violence and mental health issues that do need to be dealt with in the public health system and not just in the courts. So I have prosecutors that are well trained, that buy into that mission, and their decisions that they make in court every day have had a incredibly positive impact on the people that are directly affected, but also on the community writ large and on, I think, the future trajectory of Berkshire County.
Do you feel being the district attorney during one of the craziest times ever in this country, half of your first term was in the middle of a pandemic? Do you feel that, was that super challenging, or are you out of the woods with that yet? How did that affect this whole first term for you?
So during the pandemic, this office never stopped. We continued working with our law enforcement partners to make sure that public safety was protected. We worked to make sure that people's constitutional rights were protected. I had a case that went to the SJC that I argued about holding people pretrial past the 120 or 180-day deadline because a judge had found them to be dangerous. And we were very worried about what was going to happen during a pandemic if, dangerous domestic abusers and people that were shooting firearms in our community were released. I was successfully argued that case at the SJC. We also, work to identify people that, were not dangerous and could be released from the House of Correction to prevent the spread of illness. We went to a remote work environment and it was extremely challenging.
Did it affect getting people into treatment as far as being able to place people into facilities?
It 100% affected people's treatment. I mean, and we see the after effects of that now. People went through a very stressful time. Their systems of coping were completely disrupted. We definitely could tell that the community was stressed, and you saw that by, people having mental health crisis, fatal overdoses, suicides. I mean, we definitely could see the stress that it was creating for the community. Very serious domestic violence cases that we were dealing with during that time period. And we had a backlog of cases. We had 30% higher case loads because when jury trials shut down for 18 months, defendants are not incentivized to resolve their cases. We have just worked through that backlog. Since trials restarted, the district attorney's office has had an unprecedented run of successful trial prosecutions, and we've had great results. In July, we had a conviction for Myron Crafts in the Pittsfield daytime shooting. We got a conviction of Mr. Lamb, who was a bus driver who was sexually assaulting a woman with a disability on his bus. We got a conviction of Mr. Ostrander, who was a DV abuser for witness intimidation. In June, we got a conviction of the man who threatened the MSP with a crossbow. In May, we got convictions in the October Mountain shooting for the shooter and 2 accomplices, and they got significant sentences. We've had many other successes. I'm very proud of the work that we've done. And yeah, I mean, COVID had a huge impact because we were not having jury trials.
Are you caught up from that backlog, or are you still in?
Yes.
Okay.
We are almost entirely caught up from the backlog, and that is because our team has been grinding. We have been working very, very hard to get caught up.
So going forward, then what would you say to your constituents on why they should reelect you to a second term?
This is a really important election because not only does it have an impact on the thousands of people that my office interacts with, in a very close way, both in terms of victims that are looking for accountability, victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking. We've made huge strides in building trust with very vulnerable people so that we can prosecute those cases, but also for the people who need drug treatment. We have gotten thousands of people into drug treatment, therapeutic programs. We've stopped people that are poor from being dragged into the courts and really getting them into programming that is going to help them instead of cycling through the courts over and over again on really low level offenses where the court is just not effective. So that's had a huge impact. But for this community writ large, looking at where we want to be in the future, like we want to have evidence-based policies that we're using in making prosecutorial decisions, not turning the clock back 35 years and keep doing the same thing over and over again that hasn't worked. The big difference between me and my opponent is, I 100% have used the criminal legal system to address people who present risk to our community. And people are at different levels of risk. You're breaking into cars, you're breaking into people's houses, you present a risk, you require court oversight. There's a lot of other people that are, more low-level stuff that really need social welfare programs. Those are public health issues. It is well documented that people that are, in the courts because of public health issues are not well served. It costs a lot of money. It clogs the system up. I think we're starting to get alignment with the Pittsfield hub model, more social workers, the Breen Center. Those people need help. They need to be lifted up. This is important because this is a big distinction between me and my opponent.
Okay. And for those who, I definitely would love to have you back so we can get into some of the specific issues.
Yeah.
But for those who would like more information on your campaign or how to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, please. So I have a website that summarizes the big picture goals of my office and our accomplishments. It's Andrea Harrington for DA.com. You can go on there, you can check it out, you can send us emails on there, request a lawn sign, get involved in the campaign. I took on a big project with this office, both in terms of modernizing the office, in providing really high quality services in the courts, but also, being a partner with the community in solving the big problems. And we've made huge headway there. But, Massachusetts still has huge racial disparities in the criminal legal system. I know we're contributing to that, and it's baked into the system. So we have a project with Duke University to look at our plea tracker and really dig in and figure out, like, what are prosecutors doing to make things unfair and fix it. And we're, partway through that. I want to continue that work. I want to get restorative justice services. I want to continue to advocate for victims. The system is really not fair to them. So there's a lot, we've done a lot, but there's a lot left to do. It's been a huge honor for me to have this opportunity. And I really ask the voters to let me continue the work that I started.
Okay, well, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to do this. I know it's when you're running the office and you're campaigning, there's not enough time in the day, so I get it.
Well, it's important. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. And, I really think that, the local media is very important in getting the word out and educating people about what's happening in their community. So thanks for what you're doing.
And I hope to have you back. I hope I can talk you back into it.
I look forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, District Attorney Harrington, and
Yeah, thank
enjoy
you.
the rest of your day.